We want to excuse Vice Chair Belknap. She'll be joining us via Zoom. Oh, geez, there she is. Whew. Hi, she's right behind us. She's got a cold or something. And then also, Member Hanson is stuck in traffic and he'll be joining us soon. And Member Moss has asked to be excused till about 11 o'clock, and he should be joining us, but we do have a quorum. Want to welcome Trooper Gurney. He's somewhere around here to help us with our public safety. And for everyone that's here in case of emergency, we have these doors here on the east. Just go out in the hallway and then pick an exit. You either go north or south. I don't see an emergency or foresee one. Restrooms are just right out these doors in the hallway. So again, want to welcome everyone here today. We need to start off with a Pledge of Allegiance, and Board Member Hymas, are you going to lead us in that? Yes. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Member Hymas. Our board member message will be brought to us by Member Lear or Chair Lear from our Standard and Assessment Committee. Member Lear.
Thank you. I weighed so many messages as I considered the final board message at this end of this very fraught and trying year. Inclusion, exclusion, gratitude, equality, equity, and equal opportunity, leadership, lack of leadership, and public service, Christianity, and being truly Christ-like. And I have to pause there and quote Mahatma Gandhi, who said, "I like your Christ. I do not like your Christians. They are so unlike your Christ." Messages about kindness and patience, patriotism and peace were so tempting. I finally settled on a quote by T.H. White from The Once and Future King, one of my favorite novels. And then I'm quoting, "The best thing for being sad," replied Merlin, beginning to puff and blow, "is to learn something. That's the only thing that never fails. You may grow old and trembling in your anatomies. You may lie awake at night listening to the disorder of your veins. You may miss your only love. You may see the world about you devastated by evil lunatics, or know your honor trampled in the sewers of baser minds. There is only one thing for it then, to learn. Learn why the world wags and what wags it. That is the only thing which the mind can never exhaust, never alienate, never be tortured by, never fear or distrust, and never dream of regret. Learning is the only thing for you. Look what a lot of things there are to learn. Unless I be accused of not practicing what I preach, I want to demonstrate and provide the materials that you might try to learn something new. And I've chosen the hula hoop. I'll have to go into witness protection. I've practiced.
Is this going to be dangerous?
I think not, and I read the words.
All right. Now that looks like a very custom-made hula hoop.
I won't embarrass you further. And I have over here some hula hoops that I hope every one of you that wants one, I didn't buy like anybody would take one and try to do it, or let your children or grandchildren try to do it. Because it is a fun. Merry Christmas to you all.
Thank you. Did anyone get that on video?
I said, now I'm going to have to go into witness protection.
I just need to, I think we need some pretty good video for the legislative session, so we'll see what happens here. All right, very good. Thank you. Next, we want to invite Jeff Van Holten up, the Director of Public Affairs, to introduce our education highlight.
Hello, board members. Director Jeff Van Holten. I am excited today to introduce the educational highlight, which is honoring the 3 schools in Utah that received the National Blue Ribbon Award this year. There were 325 schools in the nation that received these awards. We got 1% of it. And the award is given to schools that really close the achievement gap based on statewide assessment data and overall academic performance. So we have an interview with all 3 principals from each school. It's about 14 minutes, a little bit longer than our 10 minutes, but I'm going to go ahead and play that now. Board members, welcome. Today, our first highlight for the National Blue Ribbon Schools is Lewiston Elementary School, and I am here with Principal Leslie Burt, who's going to talk a little bit about the school and the award that they have received. Take it away, Leslie.
Well, we are certainly honored to be recognized as a National Blue Ribbon School for this year. It was kind of a surprise, but we felt like we had been doing some great things up here at Lewiston. And this award this year is actually based on the 2018-19 testing scores, because as we all know, the 1920 year ended with a school dismissal, and we just kind of all came back in different varying fashions last year. We had been working hard to improve our PLC opportunities to work together as teams and to review student data. And we felt very good about that year, and we were actually looking forward to the testing in 1920, which is kind of unusual, but we were excited to see what more improvements we would have made. So we were a little disappointed when we were unable to test in the year 2020, but it feels good to be recognized for those efforts and the direction that we were taking it. A lot of what we did was utilize highly trained paraprofessionals. We used them in small groups to kind of help meet individual needs, target student skills where we needed to give some support. And I think also those paraprofessionals help support teachers, because teachers work hard to try to meet the needs of all their students, but that's almost an impossible task when you're doing it on your own. So I do think we've invested a lot of time and energy into people. And I think that makes a really big difference. And overall, it kind of helps to build collective efficacy. I think it helps everyone feel like they're part of a team and doing something bigger than themselves. And what's bigger than helping students to be able to be successful here and beyond. And in elementary school, we're so foundational that that's definitely a great work. We do feel like we're sort of starting over because we've all come back and everything's slipped backwards, and teachers are a little discouraged, and we feel like we're working twice as hard with half the results. But I've just shared with them that they know how to do it, and that we're just going to pick back up and do what we were doing before and meet the kids where they're at and have great and amazing things to come. So we'll have to see where it takes us, but I guess we're all starting over. The rest of the world is too. So we're all kind of in this together.
Thank you. Board members, up next we have Principal Reynolds from Emerson Elementary School. She is going to highlight for us, again, the things that led to success and what this award has meant for their school. So take it away, Principal Reynolds.
Hey, thank you, Jeff. I took a few minutes to just sort of reflect today and jot some notes down. I think 3 of the foundational things at Emerson have to do with knowing our students and then just having that growth mindset, believing every kid can move and grow. And I think really developing effective teachers is key to that as well. I think schools are only as good as the teachers that work in them. And so I focus on that, a great teacher in every classroom and just that consistency across our building. And then also that positive school culture. So, you know, focusing on the positive, catching kids being good, just that positive can-do kind of feel in our school for all of our kids. So, in terms of practices, I think when I think about our priorities here, I think of a multi-tier system of support. So in behavioral area and in the academic one too, that we have levels of support for kids, no matter where they fall, whether they're a tier 1 student, tier 2, or tier 3. So in terms of our academic, just having intervention supports and data and tracking to keep track of all of our kids who need additional support and helping them move between those layers of support for them. Our district has a social emotional learning emphasis, and we've worked on community meetings, mindfulness, student engagement, having welcoming routines, and also optimistic closure. So there's just some practices that we have in place. And then that PBIS piece too. We know our expectations, we teach them to kids, we catch them being good and reinforce those. And then we use data to kind of revamp things as needed. And then we have what we call an Eagle Club, which is a check-in, check-out system. And then we have mental health supports for kids who need it on the tier 3 level. So that MTSS system is always working and supporting kids. And we know who the kids are and use that data to make decisions. When I think about our student success plan or our school improvement plan, we really do focus on high leverage instructional practices. So those are kind of the means to get us to where we want to be in the end. So what are those high leverage practices we want to focus on? We include our coaches in planning sessions and look at our data. And that's how we set our priorities for the year and in terms of our achievement gap goal and our overall student achievement goal in our building. So that's how we've always done it. It sort of seems backwards, but we really focus on those instructional practices, and that helps build good teachers, and we know our kids are getting good instruction that will lead to positive outcomes. And then one of our priorities are the professional learning communities. So the PLC, we use the DeFore structure. We've kind of tweaked it a little bit, but we make sure that those meetings are scheduled, they're content specific. We have teacher input and feedback in creating agendas, and then we use data to kind of guide those meetings. And then we just know our kids. So we are looking at student learning for our kids who have learned the standards, kids who are struggling to learn the standards, and those who have already learned. And so we have that differentiation for kids, and then we reteach and reassess and just monitor that learning. So it's this ongoing process for that, which is a nice thing. Just a couple of things that are unique to Emerson. We are a special education hub school for the east side of our district. So we have students with disabilities. We have 9 special education teachers in our school. So kids who would be in a special class come here, and then we just team with them and include them in our general ed classes. We have collaborative classrooms, and we also have some students who aren't ready for that yet and have that supportive special class to be in. But I think the PlayWorks model at recess, for example, is just an inclusion model, but there's many things that we can do to include all of our students in our student body and just have kind of that environment where we all just work together and can support each other. And so that's been one thing that's really helped us during our recesses, and also to sort of salvage that instructional time, not having to deal with problems coming off the playground. So that was something we implemented. We have a teacher wellness room here, so we believe in taking care of our teachers as well. And so teachers can go take a break, listen to music, do some mindfulness, things like that. So we have that available, which I think is kind of unique to our building. And so that's been a nice addition. And we also have here a community garden, which we also consider an outdoor classroom. And so that's really a deliberate connection to our science standards. So we've used that to look at phenomena and just to relate it to what's happening in our science area. Teachers also use it to do writing or different activities out just in the garden, which is a really nice place to be. So we've invested a little money to have a garden educator. that helps with that. And that's been a nice thing for our community and for our kids as well. So it gives us a little snapshot of what Emerson's about. And I think that's about as much time as I have to talk about Emerson. So thank you.
No, that's fantastic. Thank you so much. We're so excited. Congratulations once again on this great award. And board members, up next, we have Principal Lambert from Judge Memorial High School.
I greatly appreciate that you're connecting us all, and it's nice to be, it was nice to connect with the other two schools, the Blue Ribbon schools out there in DC. It was a lot of fun getting to know them, and we look to continue to stay connected throughout. We all recognize it was hard. It was hard to get it. And so a lot of time and effort was put in by the staff and the faculty and the students and the parents to, ultimately get recognized for this reward. So it was nice to get to know those other schools that are doing such a great job. I guess the question would be, what do we do? What were some of the things that we put in place to ultimately be eligible for to be a high performing school? And I would say that for one, we took the time to reflect on what we're doing well and what were some of the things that we needed to improve on. It was very much like an accreditation process, that typically takes place over 6 years. And we had been doing that over and over. This is my 7th year as principal here at Judge Memorial. But one of the areas that we needed to focus on was how are we supporting our students with special needs? And I think that we were able to really increase what we call our Learning Resource Center over the last few years. And it comes down to being able to provide the needed attention to our most vulnerable students, those that needed a little extra time, those that needed extra supports. And so expanding our Learning Resource Center, I think dramatically, helped our overall performance of the school. We looked a lot at student to teacher ratio. We're fortunate. We're at about a 12 to 1. Fortunate is one way to say it. I think it's more of an investment on being able to do that. Plus, focusing on our counseling center. I think we're going to see that schools are going to start putting as many resources as they can into, to having a more bulked up counseling staff. In that right now we're at about 1 counselor for about 125 students. So I think when that happens, it's a lot harder to slip through the cracks. And so you can provide, I think a lot of times when you have 1 counselor per, say, 700 students, you end up doing a lot of scheduling, and that's the reality of the job. But by lowering that student to counselor ratio, I think we were able to provide more supports when it came to emotional well-being, and then being able to connect them to the resources needed for more academic support. So that's been an adjustment that we've made over the years in just trying to provide a personalized education for each kid, and having a low student to teacher ratio is really helpful in that. And then certainly having a low student to counselor ratio has been really important there. When we look at what it's done for the school, I think there's a sense of a little bit of validation of that we've been working really hard, and that we're really trying to provide our best for our students. And it's one of those moments where I think most people in education are incredibly humble, and typically try to when they get highlighted, try to highlight somebody else. And I think that this was one of those moments of just being able to sit back and say, hey, we did this together, and we did this really well. And so I think our faculty certainly is incredibly proud of being, of achieving the award, but then also our parent community and our students, they were just as involved in helping us achieve this. And another, what was highlighted over and over while we were out in DC was that the standards didn't change. We met them during COVID. they didn't lower the standards because, okay, we're in a COVID year and so many people are learning online versus in person, or so many disruptions. No, we were able to achieve that during some really tumultuous times. And so I'm really proud of that. I'm really proud of how hard our faculty and staff worked, and how hard our students and how resilient our students were through this whole process. So what it does for the school, I think this is our 4th time to win it. And I think what we, will learn from this, and then also never get too comfortable and continue to look at what we need to, keep doing to improve, and recognize there's plenty of room for growth, and kind of spur us on to, to be able to achieve this award again.
Great. Thank you so much, Principal Lambert, and board members. Thank you so much for this educational highlight. Please join me again in giving a virtual round of applause to our 3 National Blue Ribbon schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff, for making that happen. It's good to see what's happening down in the trenches.